I was talking about this fight the other day because it really does feel like this is supposed to be a super difficult fight. I mean, without the water ring, this fight is one of the hardest in the game. Like, this fight kind of spits on Demon's Gate if you don't use the water ring, because Aqualung is just insane. So, yeah, it's kind of weird. It's in a weird spot where it's mega hard, but also free. And I don't know if that's really what they intended. Maybe it was, though. I've had people say, like, you're supposed to not lose this because it would kind of ruin the moment if Aerith died and then you got to this fight and then you lost. And then you had to watch it again before seeing, like, the resolution. It would kind of ruin things. Thanks to Gohan. Merry Christmas, man. You know, it kind of ruined the moment if you saw this and then you couldn't beat the boss. And then by the time you beat the boss, it kind of, like, faded. The feeling faded, you know? So, some people think they put in the water ring just to ensure that you beat the boss so that the scene hits correctly. But, like, they could have also just made the boss easier. They could have just made it hard but fair, and most people will probably beat it on their first try, instead of just making it impossible or free, you know? Because I genuinely think if you don't equip the water ring, and you're not one of those people that, like, hard grinds in every area of a JRPG before moving on, you're not beating this boss first try. Like, you're not going to think to keep all your HP at absolute max the first time you fight this boss, and then you're going to get hit by Aqualung and just die. Most people don't have HP plus this early either. Especially on the original with the magic defense bug. Like, Aqualung's just going to wipe your team. So, I don't know, it's weird. It does make it memorable, though. Alright, while we watch Bahamut, let's talk about Jenova. So Jenova Life is a pretty flawed fight, although maybe on purpose to counteract how strong Aqualung is. So this is actually pretty interesting from what we were talking about. All of Jenova's attacks cost MP and are water elemental, so if she runs out of MP or you equip a water ring, you win the fight. She will counter any magical attack with Reflect, which she just did. She has a greater chance to use Aqualung as her HP goes down. So not only is this fight flawed because all of her attacks are water, but this is also one of the only boss fights in the game where you can just sit around until she runs out of MP and then she does literally nothing. There's plenty of bosses that run out of MP, but the only other one I can think of that literally does nothing when he runs out of MP is Carry Armor after you kill his arms. If you kill his arms and let him run out of MP, then he just stands there, but yeah. This is why White Wind sucks. I was going to use White Wind, and then he got hit, so it would have only healed 200. A lot of things are weird with this field, so not only is the battlefield weird, but I talked way back in my Glitches and Oddities video about how even during the cutscene, the background changes like 9 times. Like the floor is checkerboard, and then it's not checkerboard, and then Sephiroth has gloves, and he doesn't have gloves, and all sorts of weird crap. Which is weird, because I know this game has a lot of, like, bugs and glitches and, like, unfinished stuff, but when it comes to the important bits, oh my god. Cred 13 absolutely nuked her. She didn't even get to use Aqualung. Holy crap. She does not have a low amount of HP. She has the most HP of any boss up to this point. Holy crap, Red 13 just annihilated her. I did not realize how much damage he was doing. Anyways, so usually when it comes to like the important scenes, they got everything right. So it is kind of weird how jank this part is. But there's even a glitch with Vincent in the original during this scene where his leg gets screwed up, if you've ever seen it. Like the most important, maybe not most important, but saddest moment in the game, and Vincent has this like horrible glitch in this field. Is that the only time in the game where Jenova talks? Well, you could say Jenova's talking the whole time, depending on your viewpoint. Some would say Jenova's been talking since the beginning of the game. It's always been her. And Sephiroth doesn't even exist anymore. As in, like, the text actually says Jenova colon? Maybe? Yeah, because I don't think she talks at the very end. She just squeaks at you. Alright, finally made it to disc 2. Yeah, they don't even have any, like, flashbacks where Jenova talks or anything. And all the, like, weird head stuff going on with Cloud that some people would say is Jenova. It doesn't explicitly say it's Jenova. That's the only part where it explicitly says. Alright, so we should be able to fight our boy here. More bound fats. Yeah, I thought so. I thought that was the case. We go back and forth on it. There's really no right answer. Over the years, I have... Oh yeah, I forgot. We get the bolt armlet there before the fire armlet. Now we really win. Yeah, we've gone back and forth on it. It's an interesting topic. Sephiroth falls into the life stream with Jenova's head. And I think, like, that's really the smoking gun for me. If we're, like, looking at it really objectively, Sephiroth shouldn't have the ability to travel the life stream because he's not an ancient. So, you know, he should just dissolve into the life stream for the most part. He does have Jenova cells in him, but he should dissolve into the life stream. And then the Jenova cells should just, like, not, and then maybe, like, poison the life stream or whatever. But Sephiroth, the person, should dissolve into the life stream. For some reason, he doesn't. For some reason, he himself can just travel the life stream and absorb all the knowledge of the life stream. And I think it's because he falls into the life stream with Jenova's head. So Jenova's head, like, protects him, kind of like Aerith protects Cloud and Tifa. Now, you could just say, but he's the main bad guy, so, like, he just gets to, and, like, that's fine. But if we're looking at it, like, super objectively, he should break into the life stream. So the fact that he doesn't makes me think Jenova, like, protected him, and then he traveled the life stream, learned all the secrets of the ancients, and then, like, fused with Jenova, and the final Sephiroth is basically just Jenova Sephiroth, a combination of them both. Maybe Jenova's controlling Sephiroth, maybe Sephiroth's controlling Jenova, we don't really know. We do know for a fact that Sephiroth or Jenova send out their mind powers to control Jenova's remains and turn into Jenova Sephiroth, the one that walks around and talks to everybody. We know that for a fact. But in terms of, like, what final Sephiroth is, the Sephiroth in the crystal, you know, it's up to your interpretation what percentage of him is Sephiroth and what percentage of him is Jenova. Some would say it's just Jenova. It's been Jenova the whole time. Sephiroth broke into the life stream completely and Jenova just took on his likeness. Others would say it's Sephiroth, and Sephiroth is controlling Jenova because now he's stronger than Jenova. You know, there's a lot of interpretations and there's no right answer, which makes it cool. It's cool that there's no right answer. I think one of the coolest things that I've found over the years is my whole thing with Jenova being a Omega weapon. If you saw my in-depth of Sephiroth, I think that's one of the coolest theories that I've found over the years that I personally, like, created myself. And if that's true, then I would say that a big chunk of Final Sephiroth is Jenova, because I think Jenova is far stronger than Sephiroth, if that's the case. But who knows? It's fun to think about because there's no right answer, and that's one of the best things about Final Fantasy VII. There's a lot of stuff that there's just no right answer, and I like that a lot of that is still up to interpretation even after the remake. The remake is different enough to where we can still look at the original and have fun questions. It's not like the remake just answers all our questions or something, which is really nice. I think if the remake had just answered all of our questions, then it would kind of it wouldn't ruin the original because I could still separate them as different games and different canons. But it would kind of sour it a bit, you know, if they just came out and said, like, here's how it is in the original. You know, the remake is different enough. It's very obvious that the remake is a separate story altogether. So even if at some point in remake, they're like, hey, guess what? Final Sephiroth is actually exactly 75% Sephiroth, 25% Genova. We could still ask that question in the original, which is cool. It's one of the things I appreciate the most about the remake is it doesn't try to just explain everything in the original as if that's the answer, you know? And I would hope that the ending is the same way. That one of the best things about Final Fantasy VII is that the ending is, you know, up to interpretation. And I think no matter what they do with the ending in remake, it'll still be up to interpretation how the original was supposed to be understood. But we might get some insight as to like what the developers were thinking in the original. But I think no matter what, it'll always be up to interpretation, and that's the best thing about it because we can talk about it forever. 20 years from now, we'll still be talking about whether or not the human race died at the end of Final Fantasy VII or not, you know? Okay. Cool enemy here. One that I was pretty excited to talk about. This is Acrophes. So Acrophes takes 800% back attack damage instead of the normal 200%. If you get a preemptive on this guy, you will almost certainly one-shot him or close to one-shot him with your first attack. The reason for this is because he has a huge tidal wave attack that when he uses it, it'll heal him, and they wanted the heal to be substantial without the damage to the party being substantial. If they had made the attack super strong to heal Acrophes like 2,000, then it would also have to deal 2,000 to the party. So they made him take extra back attack damage so that he could heal more than the party gets hurt. It's very similar to Apps. Apps has the same exact attack where he does the sewer tidal wave and it hits him but also hits the party, but they wanted the damage to be different, so they made him take more back attack damage, which, like we talked about during Apps, that's why in the speed run we do a very specific step count all the way to Apps so that we can do extra damage with limits to Apps by getting the preemptive. He is most notable for having a water ring steal, and we actually took big advantage of that during the absolute lowest level challenge because it was the only way we could make money. So we actually fought this guy a lot during that challenge, but he has a water ring steal, which is huge because you can sell it for a lot of money if you just grind this guy and steal a bunch of them. They're pretty hard to steal at the beginning of the game, though. Like right now, the percentage is going to be quite low. As you get higher level, it's easier, but if you try to do it right now, it's pretty bad. And during the absolute lowest level challenge, it was even worse because we were so under-leveled. Now, he does have an extremely rare attack, one of the rarest attacks in the game. And I will show you that attack right now. Actually, I will not show you that attack right now because Cloud has a ribbon. I will show you that attack right now. I should probably just leave the ribbon off because there's a lot of stuff in the game where I'm going to want to give myself ailments. Come on, use it. Come on. There it is. So this is Isogin Smog. And it's got a really cool animation because it like zooms in on each of his parts. It zooms in on like a snake head and his crab head and his like crab body over there. And it doesn't even like show the party at all. But that is Isogen Smog. It's an attack that hits the entire party and causes darkness. But unfortunately, in order to use it, you have to already be in darkness, which he does not give you except with Isogen Smog. So obviously it was a coding error, and you can actually see here in the code, if at least one opponent doesn't have darkness, then choose random enemy, use Big Red Clipper, else use Isogen Smog. So you can obviously see this was supposed to be does have darkness, then use Big Red Clipper, and if no one has darkness, then use the Smog. So they accidentally used the wrong thing here, and because of that, he never uses it unless you give yourself darkness, which no one's ever going to do. So it's a super duper rare attack that you'll only see if you know to give yourself darkness. And it would be kind of cool because it would give your entire party darkness, and then he would just like whack you afterwards, but instead it kind of screws stuff up. Now, I'm gonna run away from this fight. And we're gonna run out here and save. And then we're gonna see if we can make this work. I'm gonna go ahead and give everybody darkness again. Where's darkness? I'm blind. There it is. I'm the one that has darkness. Okay. Everybody has darkness. I'm going to speed up the game a little bit here. And let's see if the thing happens. Oh, my mistake. It doesn't hit the whole party. It just hits one character. Why is Donkey Kong on the chair? Because whenever someone brings out Omnichair, I always have a special guest, and my son got that for me for Christmas. So he's chilling with us. Actually, Donkey Kong is an extremely important part of Final Fantasy VII, and if you don't know that, you're not a real fan. We lost darkness. Gotta put it back on. Try one more time. So, what I'm trying to do here, there is a chance that if he uses Isogen Smog more than once, he will crash the game. Which is hilarious because it's just a regular attack. Like, granted, it's really rare, but all it does is cause darkness. It's not like a crazy attack or anything, but for some reason, it can potentially crash the game. And they probably just never caught it because he never uses it unless you give yourself darkness. But looks like it's not crashing the game. Alright, we'll move on. Yeah, apparently it can potentially crash the game, but it's so rare that you're never going to see that happen. Hey, do you remove your garments for donations? Only on Patreon. It seems his name was supposed to be Acrophis instead of Acrophes, which would be a combination of Acropora and Ophis. Acropora is a type of coral, and Ophis is Greek for serpent. So there you go. If you ever wondered what Acrophes means, combination of Acropora and Ophis, meaning coral crab, which if you look at them, yeah, coral crab. Makes sense. No idea. No idea why it crashes the game, because it's literally just an attack that causes darkness. It must have been like an internal thing that they just never caught, because like I said, it's such a rare attack because they screwed up the code that they just never caught it in QA. Alright, we got one more enemy to fight. By the way, I do not remove my clothes on Patreon. That was a joke. I just found it funny that I was like, my son got me this poster, so I'm showing it off on my live stream, and this guy was immediately like, do you take off your clothes for donations? There's just great timing on that question. You already bought a Patreon sub? That sucks, man. No refunds. The whole YouTube crowd just put their credit card down. Oh, man. All right, here he is. Welcome to one of the most busted, dumb enemies in the game, Grimguard. So I always hated fighting this guy casually because I did not understand how he works, and I never wanted to figure out how he works. So I usually just run away from him because he's just an annoying enemy. Turns out it's not my fault. This enemy is just dumb and bugged and stupid. So if he's in defense mode, he will guard defense attacks and use Grimrod. If he's in magic defense mode, he defends against magic and uses Ice 2 and Bolt 2, which is a really cool gimmick. And the idea is they can start in any form, and then they flip their shield. So you're supposed to look at the shield. You see like the emblem on the shield. You're supposed to look at the shield and be like, okay, this guy, you know, they all have their eye down right now, so they must all be in the same form. And then you maybe do a physical attack, and then maybe he guards it, and then you're like, okay, so the eyeball down means that he's in defense mode. So now I know, eyeball down, use magic, eyeball up, use attack. That's a cool gimmick and a fun way to do this fight. Unfortunately, none of that works because not only can they start in any of the two forms, but the animations don't accurately show you which form that they're in. He can, when they use flip shield, the shield doesn't always flip correctly. And then they can start in any form. So the better way to do it is just to wait for them to use an attack. Like they're all using magic, so we know we can use physical attack. But see, when he spun his shield, the shield didn't actually spin. So we don't actually know what form they're in. You just have to pay attention. He just flipped his shield and he was already in magic form, so now he's going to be in physical form. So now I can use magic on him. That one used Grimrod, meaning I need to use magic on him as well. So the best way to do it is to just pay attention to what they're doing and react. But yeah, unfortunately, this enemy was supposed to be a lot cooler, and you were supposed to be able to use the actual physical model to determine what attack to use, but it just never meant to be. And also, this really shocked me as well. They have concept art, which I did not expect because this is kind of just a random enemy that only shows up here that most people don't even know exists. But it does kind of make sense because they have a very unique look. But yeah, you can even see Tetsuya had the idea from the beginning to have the shield flip, and the emblem on the shield was pretty much perfectly copied from the concept art. I like their eyes too, and their little necklace and their little mace. Pretty awesome enemy. It just sucks that it doesn't actually really work right. And most people don't even really ever see this enemy anyways. I think they could have done a lot more with this enemy. There you go. That's everyone here. And I think we only have, because we already fought the Vlakrados in the trick play, we only have 2 enemies here between us and the Great Glacier. And then we get to tackle the Great Glacier, which is going to be very fun. And here's our first enemy, the Bandersnatch. So the Bandersnatch is, believe it or not, a reference to the famous Jabberwocky poem from Through the Looking Glass and What Alice Found There. I know, shocking. You would never believe it, but it's true. And also, one thing that I don't think I ever noticed about this enemy, even though it's actually very common, but for some reason I just never noticed it. If I speed up the game here and let them attack, I should actually kill one because we're getting back attack damage. I think it's just I always kill this enemy really fast, but there you go. Did you know that the Bandersnatch's bite can confuse you? I don't think I ever knew that. Like, I don't think I ever really fought this enemy enough. But his bite can confuse. And it's a pretty high chance. It's like a 50% chance to confuse. I also usually have at least 1 ribbon at this point. So yeah, I just never really noticed that. And it's weird for a random bite attack to confuse. Like, why does a random wolf bite confuse? But it does. This is the leg I was talking about. That right there. That's where I always fight Vlakrados. You can fight them there or here, but I always fight them on that little boot. Is that why? Because the poem is confusing? Is that why they made them confuse? I'd believe it. Either that or rabies. All right, and our last enemy here, the Jumping. So, if a fight has only Jumpings and a Chocobo, then the Chocobo is a wonderful Chocobo. So, the Jumping is the best indicator to determine whether or not you're getting a wonderful Chocobo. And he also has a weaker version of the Cactuar ability to dodge all physical attacks, setting its defense percent to 255 at the start of a turn 1/4 of the time. And usually, this is the first enemy in the game where you find out that limit breaks can miss. Because, just like with the Cactuar, because it's a flat chance to just set their defense to that amount at the start of a turn, and not based on whatever attack you're doing, limit breaks can miss. So 1/4 of the time, your limit break will miss against this enemy. I could probably show it off if I can weight trick correctly. If I let Cloud get his limit break. These guys are doing, like, mega damage to me. If they could stop doing mega damage, that'd be nice. Okay, so I'll attack one, and then if Yuffie misses, I'll interrupt with Limit Break. She hit. Try again. I'm getting unluckily lucky. Alright, never mind. But yeah, your limit breaks can miss on this enemy. Just like the Cactuar. Also, they hurt a lot. I don't know why Club Sword hurts so much. Alright, we're on to the Great Glacier. Which is going to be a task. Going to be an interesting task to tackle and make sure we actually find all the enemies. I am going to run to the bathroom real quick, and then we will continue. Alright, so... did I... We're going to do that, okay. Oops. Hit the Windows key. You have the Murasami still. I kind of want to just not give you the ribbon, actually. Just for stuff later. So, we're now into Disc 2 all the way to Icegolin, and Red 13 still doesn't have a better weapon. This weapon does have more slots, though, so you could actually trade this out. But I think, if I remember correctly, the Seraph Comb actually gives a better magic boost than this weapon, so it's actually about equal. You get less attack and less magic, but more slots. Kind of rich. Give me that. And... I could give you... That's what I forgot to give you. I forgot to give you Restore. Excuse me. It's fine. No, there's no disc transition on the PC version. No screen. Yeah. Some enemy trivia for the Elena fight. Hold left win. If you hold left during the entire dialogue, you win. You don't even have to press it when it says to press it. You just hold it. Do you want me to give you remake spoilers? I think it's... No, it is Rebirth spoilers. I probably shouldn't give it. I mean, it's spoilers, but it's not like story. So I guess it's fine. But yeah, she can roll like that in Rebirth in the fight. I just don't want to give any story spoilers, that's all. But at this point, mechanic spoilers aren't a big deal, I don't think. And I warned people at the start of the run. But yeah, in the Mithril Mine, you can get her to do that roll during the fight. It's pretty funny. Yeah. Well, yeah, I know. It is crazy how long it's been out. But that doesn't affect anything. I get comments all the time of people that are like during my Chrono Trigger playthrough or something, they're like, this game's been out for 20 years. What do you mean we can't spoil anything? All right, brother. Let me just pull up a list of all the 20-year-old games you haven't played and just spoil all of them right now. Because obviously you've played every single game that's more than 2 years old that's ever existed. And you wouldn't mind if I just spoil every video game in existence that isn't a year old. Contrary to popular belief, we have not played every video game that has ever existed. There's literally like the fact that something is old does not change the effect of spoiling it at all. It just means that there's probably more people that have played it. That's all that means. Does not affect whether or not you should spoil it. Now, if something is brand new, I would say to avoid spoilers a little more than usual. But other than that, age has no effect on whether or not you should spoil stuff. Everybody has plenty of old things they've not seen yet. Now, I would say there's some things that have kind of reached a public memery enough to where it's just kind of auto-spoiled for everyone. Like Star Wars and Harry Potter, but if you're going to tell me that Xenogears is okay to spoil because it's an old game, when, like, I would have to guess 50% or more people in this chat right now have not played Xenogears, you've lost your mind. Just because it's old doesn't mean anything. I'm sure I can find something right now that you have not played that's more than 10 years old that at one point you will play and be happy you didn't get spoiled. So think about that the next time you're like, well, it's 5 years old, so I can just say whatever I want. Now, when it comes to, like, Rebirth and Remake, it's a bit different because this is, like, the Final Fantasy VII place, so you just kind of have this general idea that most people here have played it by now, which is fair. But, you know, I get weird comments on, like, Chrono Cross Let's Play where they're like, well, it's an old game, so why can't your chat spoil it for you? And I'm like, brother, I'm currently playing it. What do you mean? What do you mean? Like, I'm just going to let chat spoil any game I play if it's more than 5 years old? Just ruin every experience I can have with any game that's not freaking Clair Obscur? Like, what do you mean? How do you how do you enjoy any video game if you're just like, well, it's more than a year old, so everyone tell me how it ends? How do you enjoy any media? Do you just only watch things that are 6 months old? If it's more than 6 months old, you just can't interact with it at all. And if that's the case, if you're like, you know, I only play things that are 6 months old, if it's any more than 6 months old, it's old and no one should play it. Everyone should just get it spoiled and then go play GTA 6 because only new games matter. What the heck are you doing here, brother? How'd you end up on my YouTube? What the heck? You are lost. Wait, you took a wrong turn at frickin' Jinxie. What the heck? You took a wrong turn at Albuquerque because this is the wrong YouTube channel. All right. Time for Great Glacier. I think what I'll probably do is just fight some stuff, and then whatever we're missing, like I'll go get snow, and then if we're missing anything at that point, we'll figure stuff out. Because, yeah, Great Glacier is very complicated. There's a lot of enemies here, and pretty much every field has a different group of enemies, which is weird. You wouldn't expect it, but I thought that each one of these fields just had all the enemies as possible fights, but that is not the case. And then maybe like I thought maybe the caves maybe had like different enemies, but no, like every field has different stuff. Yeah, it truly blows my mind that someone can watch a 1,000 view Chrono Trigger Let's Play from a guy who's obviously a retro RPG guy and be like, well, this game's more than a year old. Can't I spoil it? What are you talking about? You took a wrong turn at Fortnite. Go back to Fortnite. Why am I running? This is a fight that I want to fight. Dang it! I was too busy talking about Fortnite. I'm sorry. I got distracted by Fortnite. It happens often. Got that Sabrina Carpenter skin. Why are you running? Distracted by the Sabrina Carpenter skin. Alright. We got this guy at least. Frozen Nail. Great name. Okay, so, Frozen Nail has two strange names. The name itself, Frozen Nail, and then also his attack, called Continue Claw. Nail doesn't relate to anything this enemy does, so I don't know why he's Frozen Nail. And Continue Claw also makes no sense because it has a 75% chance to happen, with the other 25% being Flying Sickle, and it just attacks once. Like, it's not like he uses it and then uses it again on his next turn or something. Like, it's just a regular attack. Now, another interesting thing, there's 3 enemies in the game that use the attack Flying Sickle. This guy, the Flat Beat that we fought earlier, and the Soldier Third. So, weird, funny lore implication, maybe the soldiers actually learned Flying Sickle from either the Frozen Nail or the Flat Beat. Maybe that's like an enemy skill for them, and they learned it from these enemies. Because for some reason, the enemy third also uses the same Flying Sickle attack. So maybe the soldier thirds were sent out to the Great Glacier to look for Mako or something. The Flat Beat is near Gold Saucer in the field. No shirt, no pants, no spoilers. Yeah, that's been my motto for a while. That's what it's all about. I like how twerk your way to the top smiled at that. I'm a little worried now. I'm a little worried that the second I said anything about no pants, twerk your way to the top, instantly typed a smiley face. I'm the world's worst at this screen, by the way. I don't know what my problem is, but I suck at doing this. Got some more jumpings. Calm down, Zach. Put your pants back on. It's not 2027 yet. Or we just throw out all the rules. We got one more year till it's no rules for 8 Live.